From the high desert southwest and an indiscreet shave den located in the deep recesses of Ouch's basement, broadcasting north from McMurdo Sound to Ice Station Zebra and east and west across all time zones to our members throughout the world, this is Badger and Blade Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to Badger and Blade Radio. News and events around BadgerandBlade.com. Our recently completed military PIF was won by Parastang. We'd like to congratulate him and thank him for his service. As always, we'd like to welcome all the new members to BadgerandBlade.com and remind them to go over to the Shave Clinic and Newbie Check-In Forum to say hello, introduce yourself, and then over to the Hall of Fame to tell us a little bit about you. We'd like to welcome new stewards to the team, CMH737, Dexeter, and Ron Weston, so please check out their threads and say hello. In our Soaps and Creams forum, which are conveniently located right next to each other, you can decide whether soaps are for you, creams are for you, or even both, plus there's always lively banter going on. In our Mess Hall forum, our September cookout is steak, potatoes, and salad. So for some mouth-watering pictures and some great recipes for your family, please check that out the entire month of September. In our dark room, we have two things going on. Our September photo contest is Lonely Street. Please check out all the details for that. And also, cell phone shots. For those of you that aren't spending thousands and thousands of dollars on camera gear, you can get some absolutely fantastic shots from your cell phones, and there are some experts over in there that can tell you how to get the best out of your cell phone camera. Also, the Sue Moore auction is ramping up for our October launch, so if you are interested in donating or finding out a little bit more, please check out the Sue Moore auction threads. They normally will be highlighted in pink. Now for some stats that you may or may not be interested in. Do you know that at any one time we have almost 3,000 members online worldwide on BadgerandBlade.com, and in our gallery we have over 120 categories, which means almost 42,600 images that have been viewed almost 20 million times. Also in our standard forums and all throughout BadgerandBlade.com, we have over 437,000 threads that have been viewed over 8 million times, and currently our membership is sitting just north of 74,600 people, and we have 17,000 wiki pages for you to enjoy. So, quite a large site, but the impact for BadgerandBlade.com has been thanks to you, the members. After the break, we'll have our exclusive vendor interview with Scott from Captain's Choice Products. We'll be right back.
Big news for short chins, long chins, strong chins. There's a new Persona stainless blade in this new Edge Guard dispenser. Big news for high cheeks, puff cheeks, rough cheeks. There's a different Persona stainless in this new Edge Guard dispenser. Big news for bull necks, tall necks, all necks. There's a better Persona stainless in this new Edge Guard dispenser. Gives cheeks, necks, chins, etc. more shaves which are high-rated for comfort than any Persona ever. So, and watch out.
I think women are becoming a little more frightening to men these days. Maybe because we're freer to do much more. But some men aren't intimidated at all. They enjoy our freedom. Those are the men I like. And you know, those are the men who wear English leather cologne. English leather fits the way they live. It's so clean and natural, and I love it. So all my men wear English leather, or they wear nothing at all.
Look for English leather in a wide selection of gift sets.
Badger and Blade Radio is extremely excited to do our next in our vendor spotlight interview. We have Scott from Captain's Choice. How are you today, Scott?
Terrific, Dave.
Well, in reviewing your website, www.captainschoicestore.com, I see that the onus behind the business was finding an aftershave that you really liked. Can you expand on that and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I've been self-employed most of my adult life, and I wasn't out looking for a better aftershave. It wasn't my idea. I'd stopped in. I had a popcorn distribution business here in the Chicago area, which I've since sold about a year ago. And it was during that I stopped in Walgreens and for my daily Milky Way candy bar. And I grabbed the candy bar, and as I did so, I had this very distinct impression that I attribute to God just sticking this thought in my head that I should go get an aftershave because, hey, you're over the age of 50. And I thought, that makes perfect sense because that's what old guys wear. And I'm one of them now. So I walked around the corner in Walgreens, and I unscrewed the cap on Brute, and Old Spice, and Skin Bracer, and I kind of looked to my left, I looked to my right to make sure any clerks weren't watching, and gave them a sniff. And I remember curling my toes and just thinking, oh my goodness, I would never wear one of these or buy one, but these are global brands. Maybe I'll go home and try to make my own. And so that's kind of how Captain's Choice got started.
Wow. So the neat thing about that is now, is I assume that you and I are probably around the same age, is that you're right. Those items are things that our parents used. And for you to have that epiphany, for a lack of a better term, or that inspiration from our good Lord to do that is pretty neat. Now, how long have you been involved in traditional wet shaving? And as such, did that give you some insight into your product development?
Well, it was Christmas, I suppose. I don't know. I was probably 12 or 14 years old, maybe 13, and got a Gillette, if I remember it right, it was a Gillette Track 2 in my Christmas stocking. And the folks had discovered that there were 3 whiskers on the end of my chin that were growing. And so it was time for Scott to start shaving. And I say 3, I'm not kidding, there were 3. I could count them. So that's what got me started. So I've always wet shaved, but it's been with cartridge Gillette cartridge blades, and then a can of foam, and that's all I ever knew.
Sure.
Up until I got going with Captain's Choice. I mean, I really didn't give it much thought to using a double-edged blade or anything like that.
Well, I think for most of us it was a task. It was something we had to do because we were dumb enough when we were 12 or 13 years old to watch our dad shave and then say, I can do that. So we shaved our face once and realized, oh, these whiskers start growing again every single day. Now, I'm like you. My whiskers grow at geologic time. So, it's a lot easier for us to get a BBS shave than I think some, people that grow hair like Bigfoot. But now I'm going to put you a little bit on the hot seat here, Scott. How do you believe that your products stand out in such a competitive marketplace?
Before I answer that, I have to touch on something. I have these distinct memories of sitting at the breakfast table back in Iowa where I grew up, and Mom would have all his kids around there eating our pancakes and eggs, and here comes Dad because he's headed off to work, but he hasn't had breakfast. He comes in and sits down, and I remember looking, thinking, oh my goodness, look at all the toilet paper on his face, and someday that's going to be me. And I just remember the trepidation. I thought, oh, and so, anyway. So, that was my impression of shaving was it's a very bad thing.
Sure.
And probably painful. And so, I'm sorry, I've forgotten. Refresh my memory of the question.
That's okay. How do you believe your products stand out in what has become lately a very extremely competitive marketplace?
We're into our 6th year now with Captain's Choice, and I attribute it actually more something like that to being there 6 years ago. So from a competitive standpoint, there were certainly artisans doing this 6 years ago, but there are a lot more in the past 2 years. So I think a bit of it is that we've been there, we were established, we'd rolled out one aftershave after another. We rolled out a line of shaving soaps that match the aftershave. So if you like my sandalwood aftershave, I've got a matching sandalwood soap, and then 2 years ago is when a number of other artisans began offering terrific stuff. There's so many choices out there, and that's been my viewpoint when I look at the marketplace, what's available, and it's reaffirmed by conversations I've had with several of my online retailers. so just in conversation, they've said they are swamped regularly with a number of products they've never heard of that are coming in the door. Please, please, please try me. And they're just almost overwhelmed. And their view on it is that it's somewhat of a bubble, that a year or two from now it won't be the case as much, that it's kind of a hot thing now, and that the ones that are good, that have a following will remain, and the new ones that don't won't be around. So that's what my online retailers are telling me.
Well, one thing I notice, and I can only speak for me in using your products and so forth, the one thing that I notice, and obviously being a business owner like yourself, is I always look at how the marketing is done. I always look at how the advertising is done. And the one thing that I think, when I look at the success of Captain's Choice, is you're very active on the forum. Whether it be in conversation with regular guys or even just popping into a forum to give your opinion that may not be related to your product. And to me, that shows a level of community that you're one of us. As weird as that sounds, you're one of the guys. And that's what I noticed too, when I look at your products and stuff like that. Now, how long have you been a vendor and a member of Badger and Blade, and what makes being a vendor here worth your marketing efforts?
I looked. We joined. I believe it was December of 2010. So we're kind of at 6 years. And but I did want to touch on that comment you made. It's Badger and Blade is an emotionally healthy place because of the active role that moderators play. And I say active, it's typically active, but it's invisible, so it's behind the scenes. And that's, unfortunately, it's necessary today to have moderators who play an active role in keeping a healthy forum. And that's why it's fun for guys to chip in their 2 cents here and there. I don't know how you improve on it, and there's never an ideal thing, but I think today, it's a healthy balance that the moderators have in terms of running Badger and Blade.
Yeah, and I think that and the beauty I like about being a steward is the fact that we're allowed to be, for lack of a better term, the ambassadors of Badger and Blade. We get to be the comic relief, we get to be the jokesters, we get to come up with the ideas, always with the support of the moderators. And I think, as a general member, when I first joined, that's what I saw. I saw a very slick running machine that was unlike any other forum that I had been on before, because traditionally, for lack of a better term, moderators get the term axemen. They're the ones that come in when, there's, hitting the fan. But in this forum, the moderators, of course, still have to do that every once in a while. But I think that they're also very interactive with the members, with the vendors, with everybody else. So I think you hit the nail, really right on the head. Now, for the fun part, do you have any upcoming products or development or specials that you can let the members of Badger and Blade know about?
Yes, we've already developed let me back up a minute. So we've got essentially 4 product lines. We have a line of aftershaves, a line of shaving soaps that's a crope, kind of a soft Italian soap that comes in a tub. We have a line of very popular lather bowls. And then we have a line of shave balms. It's kind of a lotion-based aftershave. And so those are our 4 product lines. We'll be bringing out a 5th product line of shave creams. Oftentimes, those are dispensed in a tube, like toothpaste would be. In our case, it looks like ours will also be in a tub that'll be held in the hand with a screw top lid. It'll be very similar to our shaving soap, but it'll be a cream. And so it makes it a lot easier, for instance, if you're traveling, to dish out a little bit of that into a smaller container and take some of that with you. It lathers quicker. If you're in a hotel, you don't have your Captain's Choice lather bowl with you. You can use the shaving mug or rather your coffee mug or something like that, or just apply it right onto the brush and lather up with that. So I decided to develop this shaving cream after surveying a number of our online retailers and just asking them, when you look at the shaving soap and shaving cream that you guys sell, do you sell more shaving cream or more shaving soap? And the essence of it is, having talked to a number of them, is it's about half and half. So I put my hands on my hips and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm missing half the market because I only have the shaving soap. I don't have a cream. So let's have Captain's Choice have a cream. So that'll be coming out before the holidays. And as you and I are speaking now, it's September of 2016, and we hope to have that released probably in a month so that it can be in stock at our retailers in time for the holidays. The second thing that we'll be releasing soon, hopefully in concert with the shave cream, is a Bay Rum cologne. I can hear the listeners. I can hear the listeners applauding. I can hear them applauding as I say that. That's kind of my number one request. Our aftershaves all sell well. The Bay Rum sells a little more than the others. And the emails that I get are, hey, your aftershave is awesome. Have you ever thought about making a longer-lasting cologne? I have guys, literally, who have written to me saying, I have a small vial of your aftershave in my desk drawer that I put on after lunch so I can get through the afternoon.
Guilty is charged. I'm a big fan of your lime. Obviously living in Arizona, we know the deeper scents, are reserved for, the 26 hours that we have of cold weather. But I love the lime, and I agree, because I've gotten more and more into fragrances, and that's probably my one big thing that I would say to any vendor is, can you come out with, whether it be an EDT or a cologne? So this is extremely exciting, and I'm sure when we air this episode, you're going to hear a rumble of applause probably from all over the United States.
It's not easy. It's a trick to get. The key to it is that it lasts long, but it still passes the elevator test. That you're not going to overpower somebody within the first 2 hours, and that's not an easy formula to develop, but we're working on it.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think people are going to be really excited about that. Now, your products have received so many accolades from the members on BadgerandBlade.com. What would you say to a member that has not tried your product?
I guess I would encourage them to get one or all of our sample packs. So we have a convenient sample pack that has all 5 aftershaves in small little vials, each one individually labeled and bubble wrapped. That's, $12 or something, and you get the whole thing. You can try all of the aftershaves before deciding which full-size bottles that you want to get. Likewise with our shaving soaps, they come in a convenient little clamshell container that holds 1/4 of an ounce, and guys will say, they'll try the shaving soap. It's a convenient thing. You can scoop a little bit out, about the size of an almond or so, and you smear it into the bottom of hopefully your Captain's Choice lather bowl, and then you whip it up from there. Then the other sample pack are our shave balms, and you can try all 5 shave balms before deciding full size. So really, you could get all 3 sample packs for $30, and they almost those sample packs also make terrific stocking stuffers, or a neat little gift that somebody may not buy for themselves, but if you've got siblings or neighbors or relatives or whatever, make a great gift item.
Well, and I also use the sample packs for travel because it's easy, it packs well, and you don't have a whole bunch of stuff to take with you. What has surprised you about this industry?
Surprised me. I think it surprised me how welcoming and helpful so many people are. So, for instance, right now on Badger and Blade, as I'm speaking, we've got a shaving soap. It's a new scent that I'm working on, and posted just one little post. Hey, if I've got some free samples if guys want to try them. And honestly, within the 12 samples were gone within hours. So very helpful. And then the request is that they tell me and be candid. I'm not looking for, attaboys. Tell me how it can be better. Tell me about the scent. Too strong, too weak. You don't like it. You do love it. Whatever it is. So I think what surprised me is how helpful things are. The other thing that surprised me, now that I think about it, is how many mistakes I've made along the way too, and live to tell the tale, Dave. This is like the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. So Badger and Blade and the world that's out there look at a vendor like myself, and they look at the website and they see the products and they read the reviews on Amazon or wherever. It's hard to fathom sometimes the failure that goes on and on and on with developing one product or trying to get something right. So it's a challenge. I find it myself personally. I find it challenging to overcome those things. So there's a lot of failure that goes on before you see, for instance, a product that's on a website. And until you've kind of walked that path, it would be an easy mistake to make and look at a website and say, oh, look at all this. He just snapped his fingers. No. No. For instance, the first aftershave, and by nature, my background is not in chemistry or anything. I just started failing, and I failed day after day, week after week, month after month. I got out to 4.5 months before, for the first time, my wife said, hey, Scott, that one's good. And she's naturally encouraging, but she's not going to give me false hope.
Sure.
And so after 4.5 months, when she told me that one's good, I thought, oh, okay. And she was shaking her head. I was hauling stuff, filling up the dumpster, and there goes a bunch more. Month after month, it was and that was for one aftershave.
Sure. Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So anyway, I feel very welcomed and embraced. When I had that one aftershave, and Badger and Blade has been very supportive of me. That's how we got our start, Captain's Choice. I took that formula that I just described after 4.5 months of work, and when she told me that, I thought, oh my gosh, I may have something here that, it's better than Walgreens is offering for starters. And so I thought, and I don't know why I made this pivot. The whole intent was that I find something that I wanted. And somebody asked me once, well, how do you go from, okay, Walgreens, you don't like what they've got, I'm going to go home and make one for me. How do you go from that to, oh my gosh, you've got this full-blown website and you're shipping stuff around the nation into Australia and Canada and so forth? And I never gave much thought. I think when I went to Badger and Blade and I thought, oh my gosh, we might have something here, I offered free samples to guys, and I shipped out 35 of them. And I take it back. I shipped out 40 samples of the Bay Rum Aftershave, and out of the 40 samples we sent out, 35 guys were raving about it. They're saying, please take my money. I want a bigger bottle. I have 7 aftershaves, and that one's easily better than all of them. So that's how we got started. And then we just sort of went from there. Mainly,
Wow.
A lot of our new products come from just listening to customers, what they want. They tell me, hey, I'm looking for this. The Bay Rum, for instance, that had been out for some time, and guys were asking for one with more burn. So that's where Cat o' Nine Tails came from.
Right.
I started with Bay Rum, tweaked the formula, did a lot of failing. The neighbors heard me screaming one time because I had made a Cat o' Nine Tails times 10 that I wasn't aware of, and I thought, okay, too far that way. Need to come back toward the middle.
Well, I've messed around. Excuse me, I've messed around a little bit with, aftershaves and stuff like that. And your dumpster analogy was right. I call it the toilet flush, as far as, because you just never know. Now, is there anything you wish you could change?
Boy, nothing really comes to mind right now. I think, when I think back on, when I look at how the industry's grown and expanded, I think one thing that would be, it's self-serving to say so, but I think if I could change one thing, wave a magic wand, it would be that, the average guy walking down the street would be enlightened to what everybody at Badger and Blade already knows about. There's so many guys. They're just doing the Gillette cartridge thing with a can of foam, and they're shaving one time, and they were like me. They shaved before their shower, so their beard's nice and wiry and coarse and so forth. I mean, I think the one thing, if I could change it, would be that some guys would have an awareness that it's okay to spend a little extra time. I was first in line to look at shaving as a chore, as a necessity. And, at one point after I'd been going for a little bit, my wife yelled into the bathroom, "It's official, you're in there longer than me."
Yep, so, I think I've had that conversation as well.
I would hope that guys would look at that and say, it's all right to do that. It's all right to have a shave done with a bunch of stuff. A lot of masculinity in our culture today has been stripped away, and I think this is a little bit of pushback of, you know what, it's all right to have a bunch of different straight razors, a bunch of different stuff that I use, and I get to rotate things through my stock, and call it a hobby if you want, but I love every morning when I roll out of bed.
Well, I think you touched on it. I think that most of us, as you said, we looked at it as the rite of passage of being a man, to get up in the morning, shave, get ready, and go to work. And I think now, at least myself, I use it as a zen time. I use it as a spa time. And I've since been kicked out of our master bedroom or master bathroom, and now I have my own bathroom, which worked out pretty well for me. But I think what you said is very true. I think that if the general public, and hopefully this type of forum and this type of show will get that out there, that it's okay for us to prim and prompt ourselves, and take the time that's necessary. And I think once you do that, you realize that, wow, this is kind of fun, and it goes from chore to something you look forward to each and every day.
So true.
Well, Scott, we appreciate you taking the time today. And is there any final comments that you would like to say to the members of Badger and Blade? I guess one of the things that made Badger and Blade even more fulfilling for me is to go and check out all the sub-forums and drop in there and just kind of see what's going on. When I started, I was just kind of going to the general shaving one, and frankly, I'd never been part of any online community before until we started Captain's Choice. And so I would go to the general shaving thing, and then I noticed there's one about the haberdashery, what's that about, and the nib, and so forth. And there's Badger Blade is a lot more than personal grooming. So I think that would be my encouragement, is to check out the other sub-forums, just click on them and scroll through there a little bit. You'll be surprised what you'll find in there that'll captivate you. Well, Scott, once again, on behalf of Badger and Blade, all its members, its moderators, and stewards, we'd like to thank you for taking your time to do this interview today. And B&B members, don't forget, you can find all of the products for Captain's Choice at www.captainschoicestore.com. And please say hello to Scott on the forums, as he does spend a lot of time there. So again, Scott, thank you for your time, and we certainly appreciate it.
You bet.
That brings another episode of Badger and Blade Radio to a close, and on behalf of BadgerandBlade.com, we'd certainly like to thank you for listening, as well as thanking Scott from Captain's Choice Products for spending some time with us. Members, please make sure to check out his vendor page here on BadgerandBlade.com, as well as his website for all Captain's Choice products. We'd like to thank the moderators and stewards for all the hard work they do each and every day, and to the administrators and owners for bringing us this wonderful site. But most importantly, we want to thank you, the member. You are the lifeblood of BadgerandBlade.com, and we certainly appreciate your support and patronage. And if you'd like to get a little bit more involved, please don't forget you can contribute to BadgerandBlade.com. For those of you that have been patiently waiting for our podcast launch, just a little bit longer. We're working out all the kinks as we speak, and we will have our shows in both video format, podcast format, YouTube, as well as here on the thread. So please stay tuned for an announcement in the video library forum as soon as we're ready to get up and running. That's about it for this show. I've been your host, Skyside, and please join us for our next episode.